I'm not here to tell you this bike's perfect, because it is not. There is not a perfect bike on earth. But this platform has got me pretty sold. I'm 4 hours in and I'm really excited about this bike. If you want to be on a two-stroke, if you want a bike that does a lot of work for you, and if you want a bike that is fun as heck to ride, this might be the bike you need. What's up guys, it's Jamin with Desert Edge, and this is my first impressions video of the Husqvarna TX300i. This thing is awesome so far. Make sure and subscribe to the Desert Edge channel, because we'll be giving you lots more information on the TX300i, what's going on with our riding, racing, everything. It's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you subscribe so you can check it out. Some of the really cool changes with the TX this year is obviously the big one, the TPI system. It came to the XC and the TX lineup of the Husqvarna and KTMs, which is really enticing for a lot of guys. I'm not the biggest two-stroke mix and fuel, doing the jetting and the carbing and all that. It just kind of, I mean, it's 2020. Let's get some fuel injection on these things. So I was excited to hear that they got it on this XC and TX line. Pretty awesome stuff, and I'd heard that it was running really good in 2020, so I wanted to find out for myself. The other thing that is a little bit sad about this bike is they pulled off the dang Kickstarter. Guys, this is an off-road bike. I don't care if you got a battery, I don't care if you got a flux capacitor. These bikes need a freaking kickstart. We're off-road dudes. We do not give a crap about 2 pounds of weight. I'm going to throw on 10, 20 pounds of bibs, guards, everything I need on this bike. An extra pound or two isn't a big deal. I realize I can put one in aftermarket, but this thing is a pretty penny. We should be getting that Kickstarter included with the bike. One thing I have to say is that this definitely brings the fun factor back. Alright, so first impressions of the Husqvarna TX300i. Pretty awesome bike so far. This is a package that I think will suit a lot of riders, and it's really cool. I was actually really excited about it when I got it, and I'm still excited about it because it's a lot of fun. The chassis and the feel of the bike as you were riding it is really awesome. That's probably my favorite part. It's really fun to ride. I feel like I can corner good. I feel like I can hit anything, and it's pretty confidence inspiring off the get-go. I think my first ride, I just basically got into the bike and was feeling good and was hitting corners hard and hitting whoops hard. And it's a lot of fun. Like, you trust the bike, and a lot of times when you get on a new bike, it's hard to do that. So this was really cool for me because it was right off the bat, it felt comfortable and it felt good to me. One thing that's really cool about the two-strokes is they're so light. They're so light, and when you get going through these rhythm sections and you're hitting a bump here and doing a little turn here and a bump there, and anyways, this bike's so light that you're just bouncing. It feels like you're just bouncing on clouds. Literally, I know that's a weird analogy there, but it literally feels like you're just bouncing and floating, and that's a lot of the reason why a two-stroke is really fun for me. So I love that the bike is light and just bounces around and lets you have fun with the ride. This out of the box is super rideable and super good, way better than the TE suspension. So that's a plus for these air forks, and they're adjustable, more adjustable for your with the air pressures and the clickers, I would imagine, than the TE. Which is cool. So there's a pretty good chance I won't get this suspension revalved, because I like the stock feel. It feels good, and I feel like it's something I can adjust through the clickers and through the air pressure. So I'm going to play with that for a while, and I'll know later on if I'm really for the air fork or if I'm against it. The motor is awesome. The 300 is very interesting, very new to me. And basically, when I ride the 300, it is in the middle of the gear, in the middle of the RPMs. That's where you ride the 300, where I'm not necessarily used to that. It is a little bit more like a 450, but it's definitely not like a 250. 250, you ream that sucker out, you're in the top of every gear, and you can lug them as well, but this bike is wants to be ridden in the middle of the gear, in the middle of the RPMs. And I think that's just something that takes time to get used to, but I really actually think I'll like it. I think that it's going to be less exhausting for me to ride the bike because you're not hammering down on it and using so much effort. I think it's going to be easier to ride and less tiring. And I like the idea of that. And for trail riding, for everything other than racing, I would say already that I prefer the 300 motor over the 250. But for racing, I don't know. It's hard to get into the high RPMs and this bike kind of loses its power. So we're going to see if that's something we can change around a bit, or if, you know, that's something that I can just get used to with racing. Another thing with the TX300 motor is that this thing, and I've heard people say the 300 is a freaking awesome motor and it is great for enduro and it's very preferred in the industry. This thing is insane when it comes to hill climbing and enduros. This motor is easily the best motor for that stuff. And I've never rode one, so this was quite eye-opening to me, but I go and climb a hard hill climb, and literally a beginner could jump on this bike and climb most hills that guys like me couldn't on a 450, say. So this thing's traction and the lug that it has is insane, and the lack of clutch work that you have to ride this bike is honestly mind-blowing to me. That is the number one takeaway that I've taken from this 300 is that so far is that the 300 lug and the 300 traction is insanely good, and I can see why the market and the industry really likes this motor.
That's your natural reaction is to put your feet down and you need your brake. Yeah. So dumb. I don't
The motor is electric. It is crazy. It feels like an electric vehicle. It is so smooth. And it almost takes the motor feel away from it. It doesn't. It still feels like a dirt bike and it feels like it's gas operated, but it really does feel electrically smooth, which is a crazy explanation, but that's the best way to put it. These Magura levers are actually unbreakable. So I shouldn't say unbreakable because they're probably breakable, but they'll bend all the way around if these handguards on, which is awesome, and that's an aftermarket part that I always put on my bikes for racing, so it's nice that I don't have to put that on these Magura brakes. It's Jamin with Desert Edge. I'm signing off. Thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe below and get ready for some more content coming your way. Thank you.